Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Now, you might take one look at this screen and think, oh, something's a little bit off. Something seems different. Well, yes, there is a little bit of difference here. You can see the scrolling text at the bottom is probably in a different font and is a different shape and different size. I lost all my settings when I had to reformat my machine the other day. The annoying shutting down issue I'm having with my hardware persisted and corrupted my operating system, so I had to do a full reinstall and everything, clean everything out. That's all sorted now. I'm back up and running, but my shutting down, restarting issue is still happening, and I don't know why. I've got a sneaking suspicion it's either my PSU or my motherboard, and I think it's probably my motherboard's on the way out, which is not great. But we will make do for the time being. I don't want to unload my worries onto you guys, because you are here for fun, and that's what we've got today in the form of well, actually, it's not tip-top pro level ladder. I'd say it's probably mid-pro level ladder action on the cards this afternoon. They're around the 1400 range, and the battle this afternoon is going to take place on Tag Craftious Maximus. How very exciting. One of my all-time favorite maps. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Cha-ching, ka-ching. There we go. It's a thing of beauty, this map. Doesn't matter if it's a 2v2, a 3v3, or a 1v1, or a ladder, or whatever. It's just so perfectly poised for all kinds of SOPCOM goodness. It's been a while since we've casted a game on this, so it should be doubly fun. Let's take a look at our players for today. Up here at the top in the blue corner, it's none other than ThermoNuk, and he is going UEF, how very sensible, opening first land, and his opponent down here at the bottom right in the red corner also going UEF, how very sensible. It's Templar opening first land as well. So it's a UEF mirror matchup, which of course means as soon as this is over, I shall be withdrawing all of the funds from my bank account and rolling around on the bed in the nude on top of it in denominations of 10 and 20p's. Very much looking forward to that. I need to slow this up. You guys like to look at the openings so you can copy and pretend it was all your idea. That's right. Here we go. So what are we going here off the bat? It looks like straight for the hydro for both of these guys, and then two P-gens lined up off the initial queue there for ThermoNuk, and Templar giving himself a little more leeway. He's going straight for 3, and then both of them going second air immediately, although it looks like Templar going for the adjacency bonus on the hydro, which will potentially lose him a mass storage. He's already going to lose one early on. He's going to have to get rid of that P-gen if he wants to get 3 on there later. But, you know, it's much of a muchness in the early stages. So there you go. That's what we're looking at for those initial units straight off the bat for Templar. One solitary mech marine. Look at him go. Look at it. It's like Hobo. Who remembers Hobo? Star in the comments section if you know what I'm talking about. You are very much respected. Out there with his little combat scout, the Snoop, with his whopping 2 DPS, going on an engineer hunting mission. And I have a funny feeling it's not going to work out too well for him, because he's heading straight into a tank there. A striker on his way out from ThermoNuk's base. He will pick up the radar signature. Nice little bit of micro, avoids the first shell, but the next two pick off the combat scout, and now run for your life, Hobo! He's coming to get you. Couple of hits brings him down into the yellow. About 27 hit points remain there. He's actually outrunning him. Hobo survives, and the striker breaks off. Yeah, off he goes to that great big graveyard at the top right. At least that's probably what's going to be the case when the tanks catch up to him. Anyway, no success there for Templar. I mean, a map like Craftious Maximus, if you're facing someone of similar standing at this kind of range, we're talking about the 1450s, you're probably going to find it hard to pick off an NG early doors. You're going to run into a tank right off the bat. So no joy there for Templar. Couple of planes out for both sides here. One Inti and a scout there for ThermoNuk, and one scout for the time being for Templar. The first to get involved in the naval game, though, is Templar over here. He's already started his naval factory over at the far eastern edge of the map. And I do mean it, guys. Well, I'm a bit of a tangent here while we're in the middle of the game waiting things to warm up. If the levels are off or the graphics look weird, you need to tell me in the comment section below, because it's the only way I'll learn. You know what I'm like, I can't even remember the games that I've casted previously, so the chances of me remembering my settings correctly are between 0 and -5,000. ACU for ThermoNuk catches a couple of units down here at the bottom. Snoop and a striker gonna go the way of the dodo there. A couple of blast steel with them. Nicely done there for ThermoNuk. Clears up the bottom left. T1 bomber out over the top, picking off units in the middle as well. There goes a little T1 NG for his trouble. No stories for his grandchildren there. That bomber in turn gets shot down by some defending interceptors there for Templar. Templar not being quite so aggressive with the ACU expansion. If he was mirroring ThermoNuk, he'd be heading to the top right, but he's not. He's come to the forward section of his base, the front line of his base, the footprint of his base, if you will. 4 land factories being thrown down there, making good use of the adjacency bonuses off those 2 mass points. Lots of potential spam going to be flying out there. Meanwhile, a couple of tanks for ThermoNuk look to oust Templar from the top right. 2v1 remains on the side of that. That naval yard we saw earlier is completed and is 40% done on that first frigate over there. Interceptor game seems to have shifted in favor of Templar in the last few minutes. Quite a lot of red inties buzzing over the top of ThermoNuk's base. Temporary air control for him. ThermoNuk still producing interceptors though, and he now has access to naval units as well, and instead of going for a frigate, he's going straight for a sub right off the bat. And in fact, he looks like he's committing to the naval game in a much more significant fashion than his opponent. 3 more naval yards queued up down here, and in fact one about to complete. ThermoNuk on 33 mass per tick. Templar currently on 19. Is that because of power issues? Yes, it is. Not an accurate representation of where he's actually at. That looks to be more like 27 when the power starts flowing again. So still 37 to 27, quite a significant advantage to ThermoNuk. Has the better expansive game in terms of early eco, it's fair to say. Whether or not that continues remains to be seen. In comes a little band of strikers with Hobo, who takes another shell to the face. Alas, down he goes. Not the position I expected him to die in, but that one will do for now, I guess. And yeah, interesting stuff. So no more naval yards on the way for Templar. That one frigate he put out earlier coming around the top of the island, just picking off a tank on the cliff edge there. How are we doing factory side of things, just to see where our guys are at? So in terms of land factories there, we've got 5 on the field for ThermoNuk. Templar, by contrast, is on 7, so more commitment to the land game there from him. But of course he's down a naval yard or so. In fact, down 2 naval yards now. No, 3. That no, it is 2. I'm talking garbage. It's 2, and soon to be 3 as that final one gets started. 3 engineers on those little islands down there for Templar. Almost forgot the mini-map is not enabled. Cardinal Sin there. Let's enlarge it just a little bit. But still yet to get any NGs onto the islands up top. In fact, he may have had them, it looks like. Structures have been started, but have since been abandoned. That was potentially a distance build, I think we have, but something's killed that. And it looks like air factories were being positioned along that. Distance build again, at this time at the middle island there for ThermoNuk. T1 mechs up front is about to bite the dust. Templar nearby with his ACU decides it's not worth advancing forward, and that has a little run-by planned over here. Trying to get in around ThermoNuk's commander. However, there's T1 PD stationed in this bottom left-hand corner now. Just about manages to stay out of range. Lobo lands a shell, not quite enough to cancel construction, but the next one will. Engineer will continue to build the wall sections, and they're going to make it in around to the soft, jangly bits at the far end. Mex is now under threat. ThermoNuk does have tanks of his own entering the fray from the northeast. One Mex down. Does he defend his tanks, or does he go for the buildings? Looks like he's staying on the structures, but a lovely little run by into the main base now from Templar, coming straight the way up the middle and into the main base, and another larger force coming that direction as well, all pouring out of this forward set of manufacturing facilities, which now number at 6. That's a lot of T1 spam potential for Templar, and he's going to continue to hurl it at ThermoNuk, I would imagine. Engineers up front biting the dust. T1 Mex is under pressure as well. We've got good unit comp from Templar. Throwing Lobos in the mix, going to help him take down those structures just that little bit quicker. Not too many structural casualties in the main base for ThermoNuk, but it's all very stressful stuff. If you're a blue UEF right now, lots and lots of pressure coming this way. ThermoNuk not yet set up at the top right. Not taking advantage of all of that mass which he potentially has on the cards. Naval vessels coming around the back of Templar's base though for ThermoNuk. One Thunderhead already there, and a Tiger Shark submarine about to enter the theater as well. And if that naval factory goes down, that will lock Templar out of the naval game completely. Meanwhile, back on the land, things going from bad to worse for ThermoNuk. Both of these players currently at 61 or nearly 62 mass per tick. They're very, very close indeed on generated eco, 660 and 680 apiece on power. But the main base for ThermoNuk under severe pressure right now, and could be about to go down. One factory down and out. Tank just rolls off the manufacturing line in time. But all of the T1 P-Gens are getting destroyed. There's a handful left up here around the air factory, and of course he still has the hydro. ThermoNuk losing power though after losing all those T1 P-Gens. Needs to hold on to these ones up here as best he can. Another bit of pressure on the ground from Templar. ThermoNuk seeing those away with his comm. This is looking like the one secure section on the map for him right now. Well, I say that and the ocean. He's obliterated everything over here. Lots of submarines. And that could present a new set of problems for Templar. Templar, who's managed to get an engineer on the ground up here and grab these two mexes on the island up at the top left, and has control of the 3 bottom ones as well. ThermoNuk, though, suffering badly at the hands of this land incursion. 39 to 51, bottlenecked on power. Has managed to kill off all of the units in the base. But his mobility on this central landmass is severely hampered now. ThermoNuk throwing down some wall sections, trying desperately to sort out his power issues down here. If Templar can kill off some of these engineers or some of these P-Gens, I don't think he's got the tanks to do it. Well, they could all clump together and eat a Lobo shell, that'll do it. Still minus 289 net on current expenditure. But down goes the hydro in Templar's base. That frigate doing enough damage there. What's that done to his power situation? Well, he's pretty happy for the time being, but can't allow that to continue. Not much you can do about it until he gets to T2, you wouldn't imagine. ThermoNuk facing a wall of T1 spam, however, coming his way into this proxy base in the bottom left. That Hydro, desperately important to his plans. Can't afford to lose it, I wouldn't imagine. Templar going after his power in a big way. T1 P-Gens eating it one after another. Want to yell at him, go for the Hydro. And he does. What has that done to his power? Well, it's power locked ThermoNuk once again. And now vast quantities of spam pouring out of this base. Almost all the core mass, though, for Templar has gone down, and frigates blasting aircraft as soon as they're made. Just trying to build transports out of that. Not sure whether that's drops to take care of the top islands or whether that's a potential ghetto gunships attempt to deal with the frigates. And now we're at T2 Navy for ThermoNuk, who's really surprising me. He's managing to get this tech out, considering all the power issues he's having. He's actually ahead. He's power locked, and he's 3 mass ahead of Templar right now, who's clearly throwing everything he's got at mass land spam and chucking it in at ThermoNuk. And another run by is successful into the main base now. And this time the other Hydro in the main base goes down. Oh man. That starting base for ThermoNuk, surely not longed for this world. Meanwhile, T2 Mexes over here in the proxy base going down. Lots and lots of T1 tanks pouring in, but we have a cruiser now out for ThermoNuk. ThermoNuk has dealt with all of the T1 over here thanks to the emergence of T2 air tech. Those torpedo bombers have dealt pretty comprehensively with those, but they're not going to be able to stand up to the cruiser. It's going to be able to take care of the torpedo bombers whilst hitting the resourcing options on land as well. Templar's taking a bit of damage on his comm as well. He's got the Zephamp on there, but he's down to around 7,000 hit points. Lots and lots of activity. Only 16 minutes gone in this one. But already you feel like ThermoNuk has been completely ousted from the central landmass. Main base is down and out. All of the units that have been pushing that way have been redirected to the bottom left-hand corner. But yet you get this weird dynamic. ThermoNuk invested lots and lots into the naval game, has built capacity around that T2 naval headquarters. And look at the damage he can unleash on the main base from here, and he's going after the T2 air HQ. Sensible decision, doesn't want to face any more of those torpedo bombers if he can avoid it. And that air headquarters is going to go down. That's another tool removed from Templar's box. Toolbox I'm talking there, of course, nothing rude intended. Land headquarters nearby as well. T2 sitting right next to it. Lots of important structures, and of course now he's won the land game. All of this spam is redundant. Of course, everything he's basically put into this game has essentially, excuse me, gone into mass land production, which is now relatively useless. All of that spam can't hit back at the Navy. Navy with total operational authority, able to hit back at those bases with complete impunity. And of course, because of the nature of the map, there's so many mass points in the sea. ThermoNuk still has a relatively, well, he's almost sitting at equal eco with Templar. Starting the T2 upgrade on his comm there. Courier pulling up 6 strikers there, no doubt going after some of these islands. Another cruiser joins the mix down here at the bottom. Engineers hastily trying to get some buzz kills online, which of course are notoriously poor TMD. Trying to deal with this cruiser spam, and there goes the T2 headquarters as well. So having gone from an utterly hectic start in this game, we now find ourselves in a position where Templar has almost nothing to shoot at. ThermoNuk just taking pot shots at the bases from the sea. Strikers make landfall, kill off the engineers. That will be the end of that little island there for ThermoNuk. All that spam being redirected just on a patrol route. But look at the demise of Templar's base, who's now down to 21 mass per tick. Finds himself power locked, having spent so much of the game doing it to ThermoNuk, who's now sitting pretty comfortably. Stable eco, double the eco for the time being with that power lock situation on Templar. Very, very strange game emerging, and what can Templar do? There is nothing he can do. There are too many vessels in the water now. He's going to find it nigh on impossible to get established anywhere in secrecy to get enough vessels online to hit back. And the longer this goes on, the weaker he gets. Down goes the only buzzkill in the main base. Templar still getting an upgrade on his commander. And astonishingly, having completely lost almost all access to land-based resourcing, ThermoNuk finds himself in the ascendancy. And Templar with, well, I can't see any recourse. There's no course of action he can take at this point. ThermoNuk sitting over here in complete safety, and of course ThermoNuk with access to at least some land and those islands at the top. Allows him to work it on the air game as well. There's nothing that Templar can do. Just one by one, his structures are dropping, trying to get his power situation sorted now, throwing down a T2 power plant with accompanying shield gen. Let's have a look to see if That's actually in range. Well, yeah, it's comfortably in range. Everything in this central channel is accessible to these cruisers. So there's no place on that landmass that Templar can hide. Buzzkills going up in number now. But so will the number of T2 ships for ThermoNuk. You know, I don't like to call games before they're over, but... And I can't believe it's worked out this way, but Templar... Surely without any recourse now. Buzzkills, 3 of them in a row, still can't contend with the missile spam from just 2 cruisers. Up goes the shield. That'll afford him a little extra coverage. There's still a few engineers around on the central landmass, actually, for ThermoNuk, who's managed to re-establish himself up in the top left. Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. ThermoNuk, having been ousted not 10 minutes ago, maybe less than, finds himself a way back in. And is now up to 69 mass per tick against 47. Engineers under T1 bomber pressure now for Templar. And astonishing, actually. ThermoNuk managed to hold on to the mass points and one T1 P-Gen down here. Must have picked those tanks off with a well-placed bomber. We do have some T2 tech coming out now. We've got a Riptide. That's the first unit that's really been able to shoot back against the boats that we've seen for Templar, but it gets immediately wiped out by the destroyer that's sitting in that little bay area there at the bottom of the mass. Bottom of the central landmass. TAC missile launcher up for Templar. Exploring some options now. Unless he gets a significant battery together and manages to locate the comm, I'm not sure what he can do. Templar unhappy, clearly, with the way this game is going. Apparently, it's griefing if you don't win by mass T1 land spam. That's good for everybody to know. New rule. Not sure if that really holds water there, but hey, I can only imagine how annoying it must be to be in this situation. He must have thought he had ThermoNuk by the short and curlies, but actually nothing could be further from the truth. And now we actually have a situation where the land spam has almost been completely wiped out on the ground for Templar. And there's T1 land spam coming in the other direction, going after T2 mass points over here. And finally, we do have TAC missiles coming out of that TAC missile launcher. It's going to connect with the naval headquarters, and so will a second one. That won't be enough to kill it. And you could do with getting some TMD up over in that direction of the map, that area of the map. But really, even if he loses it at this point, what does it matter? Surely there's no way back from here. Templar still having power issues despite everything. He's lost the T2 P-Gen in the main base, that'll be why. Down goes the TAC missile launcher. Templar leaving what minor sanctuary this canyon provided him, heading west. solo with no support. Templar unhappy. I don't understand what he's really complaining about. It's a completely legitimate strat. But Templar very unhappy about something. It's actually pretty amusing. Spam coming in around the back of his base now. Bearing down on what's left of it. Very little left in there defensively. Templar runs headlong into a large body of T1 spam, and out goes the surrender. Apparently, ThermoNuk plays like shit, but ThermoNuk does raise an interesting point. His comm is still alive, and as of now, Templars is not. There he goes. Gosh, I've got bloom on. That really does change the nature of the explosion visibly visible terms. It's hurting the back of my eyes. Perhaps that's why I had it turned off previously. Well, yeah, it's a little interesting, a little depressing at the end there, guys, but it's an interesting look at how some of these games can go. Not the way it looked like it was going in the middle of that one. Congratulations to ThermoNuk. Solid play there, sir. Commiserations, Templar. Definitely recommend some anger management classes for you there. Nothing wrong with that strat as far as I'm concerned. It looked pretty legit to me. I promise I will bring you some Average Joe's games, guys. People have been asking for them, and I will as soon as I see a replay that tickles me in that special place that casters have. That's nothing rude, guys. We actually have an extra organ that tickles when we find good replays. But I will bring you one shortly, I promise. I will be on the lookout. In the meantime, guys, hope you enjoyed that. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. Details below this and each and every one of my video. Every donation helps me and by extension the channel and the community. So why not give generously? Until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.